Well, good morning from the shores of Tipsoo Lake at Mount Rainier National Park. This is Steve with my hiking buddy Gino.
Good morning, everyone.
And we are going to do the Naches Peak Loop, which loops around Naches Peak right there. It's a fun hike, and then on the back side of it, we're going to, knees permitting, we're going to head down to Dewey Lakes, a pair of lakes on the Pacific Crest Trail a little bit south of here. But this is a fun loop. It's a little after 6, as you can see, clear as a bell. Very mild this morning. We got up here about 6, few cars in the lot. I saw 2 people. We're actually going to head up through the woods over here. And then we're going to cross Highway 410, which is right there on the hillside, you can see, and do this loop. So we'll check in quite a bit along the way, and a little bit of a breeze this morning, which is nice, right, Gino? No bugs so far.
Perfect.
So we'll check in along the way. Thanks for hiking with us. Got a real pretty sunrise this morning. So in the foreground here is Highway 410. And then this log bridge over 410 we're going to walk over. But this is actually the as you can see, the entrance to Mount Rainier National Park on the east side of the park.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Look at the deer.
Oh yeah. We've got 2, Gino.
Yeah, get him on the camera.
So Gino and his eagle eyes, we got 1 deer here. Pretty cool. Stay there, the other one's debating which way to go.
Yeah. There he goes.
Here he goes.
Little guy.
Look at him hop.
Little run like that.
Pretty cool. So we got a sunrise, 2 deer, and this cool bridge we're going to go over. Can't beat that. As Gino said, it's Deer City. We got a small herd here grazing. Another one, Gino.
Yeah. That is cool.
Just right here by the parking lot and by Highway 410.
They're watching us. They're not too worried.
So this is this bridge that goes over 410. Highway 410 heading toward Mount Rainier and heading toward Yakima. And if you remember a few weeks ago, we did Sheep Lake Sourdough Gap. The parking lot for that is right around the bend here. So we're right in that area. We're actually on the Pacific Crest Trail for the first half of this hike. We take the PCT to where it intersects with the Naches Peak Loop. Well, this is all the Naches Peak Loop, but part of it is a Mount Rainier trail, and part of it's the Pacific Crest Trail. Pretty sunrise. Geez, there's no cars in the lot down at Chinook like last time. What a difference. I'm looking at Chinook Pass. When we got there a few weeks ago, it was packed, and I see like 2 cars, but a little bit of a difference here. A couple weeks makes. We're going to head this way. And I was just going to show you the highway kind of goes 410. You can see it going there. Heads off towards Yakima. And we did a lake back up in there 2 weeks ago, Sheep Lake Sourdough Gap, if you remember that hike. And it's a real nice area of the park, so we'll check in. One thing I was going to say, on the drive up, we saw some deer along 410 and some elk. So this is kind of the time of year, September rut is going on, especially with elk. So we hoping we'll see some elk today on this trail. Okay, check in a while. So Naches Peak is in the sun right now, and we're still circling around it. Just wanted to give you the lay of the land here. We're by this little small pond, and that's east. And then over that way is where we were a couple weeks ago, Sheep Lake, Sourdough Gap area. Pretty morning. It's a little bit high clouds to the east, and there was a little bit to the south when we started. I can see them on the horizon there, but boy, it's real nice. A little bit of a breeze, so no bugs yet. So we're plugging away. We'll check in when we get to the overlook for Dewey Lakes. So through the trees, I'm looking down on the Dewey Lakes. That's the larger of the two lakes. Pretty good sized actually, and then the smaller one is right there. And I can't remember, there's a peninsula that you basically cross. The trail bisects these two lakes. They're separated by this peninsula that you cross, and this is just looking south, southeast actually, kind of some of the surrounding area here. And we actually are going to make the turn now to the west. We're really going to go west here. And like I said, there's a trail down to the lake. Switchbacks down, drops about 600 feet in over a mile. So we've got to decide if we want to do that. I'm going to leave it up to Gino. So we'll decide. You'll find out in a little bit what we're going to do. Great view this morning. Oh, and way off, I just noticed it. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. The top of Mount Adams. How about that? Anyway, I was going to say, really nice morning. There's a breeze blowing, keeping the bugs away. Temps are pretty cool here on the shady side. Haven't seen anybody other than that one through hiker, Assassin, and we'll see how many we see going down to the lake. This is actually kind of a popular area to camp down here. I've done it a couple times with my friend Mike twice, and then my friend Lauren also once. So we'll see. I'll check in a bit. So we've reached the intersection. Continuing west would be on the Naches Peak Trail back to where we started at Tipsu. And behind me here, and you can see through the trees Dewey, we're going to head down here. Gino says, go, all systems go. So like I told my dad yesterday, we were coming down to Rainier to take on an order of Naches and a side of Dewey. So we'll journey down. This is actually last year where we saw the thru hikers. Remember, Gino?
Yep.
Saw a couple of groups coming up, so we've got to switch back down here, and so I'm going to put the camera away. The trail gets kind of rocky in spots, and we'll check in down at the lakes. Talk to you soon. Well, we made it to the Dewey Lakes. This is the smaller of the two lakes. Nice breeze blowing here. Kind of got warm on the descent down. We were in the sun and there wasn't any breeze. We lost the wind, as Gino said, but boy, it's nice here. This is the smaller of the two lakes, a few hundred yards long, probably 70, 80 yards wide. And the other lake's at my backside here, so we're going to turn around and go look at the big lake and film a little more from there. Stay tuned. So this is the bigger of the two Dewey lakes, and you can see it's a large lake. Sun's up over the horizon. Nice morning. We've come from up there. Gino and I, when we were here a year ago, it was a cooler morning, and the lake was really steaming because it was a cooler morning, and the sun hitting it. It was really steaming up, but not today. It's warmer. Boy, nice setting, huh? Anyway, we're going to take a break here and refuel, recharge, and we'll check in. I'm looking for a campsite that me and my buddy Mike stayed at, and it's somewhere over here, and we'll probably look for it on the way out. I thought this was the way to it, but it took us to this beach. So my memory isn't as good from 20 years ago where we went. So we'll see on the way out if we can find it. Okay, we'll check in a while. So Mike, do you remember this spot? This is where we camped. Chipmunk was kind enough to point it out to us. We kind of camped on this, and the sun is really in my eyes here. But we camped on this point overlooking the larger of the lakes, Dewey Lakes. But this is a really cool, it's a real big spot, and you're on this bluff above the lake, and a lot of room for tents up here. And we were told about it by some other hiker, and Mike and I camped here. Had a night visit from some deer, and but it was a neat spot to camp. So anyway, we didn't take a break down on the beach. We're going to take a break here before we start the climb out. So we'll check in on the way up. And Gino, what time is it?
8 o'clock.
8 a.m. So we've been going for 2 hours. Probably got another 2 hours on the way out, or a little less. So like I said, we'll check in on the way. Hope you're enjoying this one. We are. So on a bright September morning, wow, that sun is brilliant. We've completed our refuel and refresh, and we're going to head out of here. So we got a bit of a climb ahead of us, a mile plus 600-foot elevation. So I'll check in up at the top, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get on the Naches Peak Loop again and finish up the trail, and we're going to head west, and we're going to have some spectacular views of Mount Rainier. So stay tuned. So a little bit of a sneak peek. There's Mount Rainier. We're on the last switchback climbing out of here. Steady trip up. I'm going to stop here in the shade. When you get up to the top, you hit, this is actually a good stretch of trail. The trail's pretty rocky, and you're in the sun. Oh, first 3/4 coming out of the lake, you're in the shade, so it was real nice, and boy, we got in the sun and it warmed up in a hurry. But saw one guy heading down. We had just left the lakes, and he was coming down, and chatted with him briefly, but that's it. So the 2 through hikers and him, and we've got one push here to get up to the Naches Peak Loop, and then, like I said, we're going to have some views of Rainier. So stay tuned. Some really cool views of Rainier coming up in a minute as we head up the PCT for the last little bit. So one last look at Dewey Lakes, the bigger of the lakes, I should say. Smaller lake there as we head this way on the Naches Peak Loop. And I was telling Gino, geez, an hour of Steve talking to through hikers on this video, or so it seems. And as we head west, I don't want to give it away. Check this out. So this is going to be our view for about the next half hour as we head west through these meadows and have this spectacular view of Mount Rainier. And it is cleared off nicely. Can't beat that view, Gino. So there's Naches Peak as we head toward Rainier, and I was gonna just mention that my dad once said it's hard to believe when he sees my videos and photos that you're 2 hours from Seattle and you're up in this spectacular part of the state. It's just incredible that we're 2 hours away from a major population center and we have views like this. Got a little pond down here. I told Gino it's just a little after 9. I said, geez, if I hadn't inquired with those through hikers so much, we'd be done by now. So I find those through hikers fascinating and really admire them for what they do. So hopefully you don't mind all the interview, Steve the interviewer, and we're just kind of going along here. I'll check in a bit. So we're on this little ridge here as we're heading west, and there's Dewey Lakes in the sun. And I swing around and there's Rainier. I'm actually going to go down here. There's a better view. It's kind of funny, that area is all trampled up there, and I think the better view is down here. No trees in the way. So let me show it to you. Wow. Doesn't get much better than that. Mount Rainier on a cloudless September morning. Speaking of which, I'm going to make a comment here. I mentioned my dad earlier. Boys and girls, yesterday was my parents' 64th, 6-4 wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. I love you, and wish you could be here with me. The video's the next best thing, and of course a video of Mount Rainier, one of my favorite spots. So happy anniversary. So Mr. Jeff, if you remember where we went earlier this year, there's the lookout on Shriner Peak. Sorry for this shakiness. I'll pull back a bit. That's Shriner Peak, and the lookout's on top there. So Gino noticed it last year on this hike, so he's got his binoculars and we're scoping it out. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. Nice day here. Rainier's blocked a bit by the trees, but we'll see it again in a minute. So kind of a cute, cool view from the trail. We're looking down in the valley. Highway 123 is down there. We can hear cars. We're heading west here, heading right toward Mount Rainier. Some really nice views over here, and you can see it's just a clear as a bell day. We haven't seen anybody either. We saw the PCT hikers, and then we saw the one hiker down toward Dewey Lakes, but boy, it's been a sparse crowd today, so that's really a surprise. School's back in session, so maybe everybody's kind of burned out on the summer hiking and have gone back to school or the whatever, but God, there's some nice views on this ridge. My camera probably doesn't do it justice here. Film up here. Yeah, we're on the top of this ridge, and you just have this view of Rainier through the trees as you go along. It's just spectacular. Okay, check in a little while. We're eventually going to lose this view and turn to the north and head back to Tipsoo Lake in the parking lot. So I'd like to get as much shots of Rainier as I can. Great views over here, huh?
Yeah.
You can hear that traffic down there.
Cars,
yeah, on 123.
Yeah. Huh.
Every time we go into the trees, I think we're going to turn north, and we just keep going west and still have these just fantastic views.
Yeah, you can see 123 down there. You can see the curve in the road. If you look way down.
Yep. Probably can't see it on here, but we hear the traffic down there.
Yeah, you can
Follows that valley down.
Yep.
And then Shriner Peak.
You can hear the traffic.
It's right there. But gosh, Gino, you can't beat these views, huh? Just incredible.
Can't get tired of this.
No, not at all. Gino asked me earlier, he said, which hike do I like better, this one or the hike we did 2 weeks ago to Sheep Lake and Sourdough Gap and Crystal Lakes? And I said, it's like picking between two kids, you know, you can't pick. They're both really neat hikes. Both real close to each other too, so. Oh, and I was going to add, if I mentioned it early on, but This is why you want to go clockwise if you come up and do the Naches Peak Loop, because if you were going counterclockwise coming toward me, you'd have Rainier at your backside, so you'd have to be turning around the whole time to see it. So this way, going clockwise, you got Rainier in your face all the way on the backside of this hike. So just an FYI. Steve fact on the trail. So we've swung to the north. We're off that south side. We're on the west side of Naches Peak, but there's Highway 410. And so we're going over this way to Tipsoo Lake. We're almost there. Hey Gino, look way up on the hill. The road to sunrise. See it?
Yep.
Right there, that line through the
Yes, indeed.
forest. So okay, we'll check in probably one final time when we get down by Tipsoo. So this is Steve checking in one final time as we complete the loop. We're coming up to Highway 410, which we got to cross. You can hear the traffic. Kind of a sensory overload. You go from not many people to traffic and noise. It's a little before 10. So a little under 4 hours to do the loop and the trip down to Dewey Lakes. Very nice day, no bugs to speak of. And we got a car coming. I'm gonna have to wait, let him go by here. There's the sign, Naches Loop sign. I waved him by, he wasn't even looking. This is Highway 410 and Tipsoo Lake's right over here. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. It's one of our favorites. Come down here in September and it's not too crowded. This is a popular spot, like I mentioned this morning. Now you can see Tipsoo in the daylight, but this is a popular spot. A lot of people come here for picnics and stuff. But anyway, next week we kind of are kicking around what we want to do. We might do Burroughs Mountain. The only thing that could hold us back on that is the forecast that I saw showed real high temps next week. And we love Burroughs Mountain, but Burroughs is out in the open the entire 9 miles round trip. So we're not sure we want to hike in the sun and heat, even though we're at elevation. We don't know if we want to do that for 9 miles. So stay tuned. If not, we'll figure out something else and go to Burroughs a little bit later in the fall here, or we're still in summer, I guess. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this hike, one of our favorites, and stay tuned. As I told the through hikers, the hiking channel is Hiking Man Steve, and all my hikes are on there. So from Tipsoo Lake, this is Steve signing off. Thanks for hiking with us.